Welcome back to our channel. The 1998 Jefferson nickel represents a significant chapter in American numismatic history, standing as a testament to the continuity of American coinage in the late 20th century. This seemingly ordinary circulating coin, bearing the profile of America's third president on its obverse and his historic home, Monticello, on its reverse, carries with it rich historical significance as part of the longest-running unchanged coin design in U.S. history prior to its eventual redesign in 2004-2005. To truly appreciate the 1998 Jefferson nickel, we must embark on an extensive journey through American coinage history, the specific historical context of 1998, the technical aspects of nickel production during this period, and the economic and cultural significance of this modest 5-cent piece. This comprehensive examination will reveal how even a common circulation coin represents a complex intersection of art history, economics, metallurgy, and cultural values. The year 1998 found America in a time of economic prosperity, technological advancement, and cultural transition. The internet was becoming mainstream. The Y2K concern was on the horizon, and American pockets still jingled with coins that were frequently used in daily commerce before the widespread adoption of electronic payment methods. The humble nickel, including those minted in 1998, played an essential role in this everyday economic activity, whether a seasoned numismatist or someone who simply found a 1998 nickel in pocket change. Understanding the complete historical context of this coin provides valuable insights into American history, economic development, and the evolution of currency. This detailed exploration will illuminate why even common modern coins like the 1998 Jefferson nickel deserve serious scholarly attention and collector interest. Early 5-cent pieces in America. The story of the American 5-cent coin begins well before the Jefferson nickel's introduction in 1938. The first 5-cent coins in the United States were small silver coins known as half-dimes, originally spelled half-disms, authorized by the Coinage Act of 1792. These diminutive silver coins, approximately half the size of a dime, represented one of the first denominations struck by the newly established United States Mint. The half-dime continued as America's 5-cent piece until the Civil War, when silver coinage largely disappeared from circulation due to hoarding. This crisis in circulating currency led to significant changes in American coinage, including the introduction of paper currency in denominations less than $1 and the development of new coin compositions that did not rely on precious metals. The Shield nickel, 1866 to 1883 and 1866. Responding to the continued shortage of small denomination coins, Congress authorized a new 5-cent coin composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This represented the first time the U.S. had used nickel as a coinage metal and established the 5-cent denomination's association with this silvery metal that continues to this day, though ironically modern nickels contain more copper than nickel. The Shield nickel, designed by James B. Longacre, featured a shield on its obverse and the numeral 5 surrounded by stars and rays on its reverse. The design was modified in 1867 to remove the rays as they caused production difficulties. The Shield nickel represented an important transition in American coinage from precious metals to more utilitarian compositions for everyday commerce. The Liberty Head, or V nickel, 1883-1913. In 1883, the Shield nickel was replaced by the Liberty Head nickel, sometimes called the V nickel for the large Roman numeral on its revers. Designed by Charles E. Barber, this coin featured a classical representation of liberty on the obverse. The initial 1883 design omitted the word CENTS, leading to an infamous scheme where some coins were gold-plated and passed off as $5 gold pieces. This was quickly corrected later in 1883. The Liberty Head nickel series is also famous for the legendary 1913 Liberty Head nickel, of which only 5 examples are known to exist. These were struck under mysterious circumstances after the design had officially been replaced, and they rank among the most valuable American coins ever produced. The Buffalo Nickel 1913 minus 1938. The Liberty Head design was replaced in 1913 with the iconic buffalo or Indian head nickel designed by James Earl Fraser. This beloved coin featured an indigenous American chief composite on the obverse and an American bison on the reverse. The design is widely considered one of the most distinctly American and artistic efforts in U.S. coinage history. Despite its popular design, the Buffalo nickel had technical problems. The date and denomination were raised elements that wore quickly in circulation, and the dies used to strike the coins frequently broke prematurely. By the mid-1930s, the Mint was seeking to replace the design, setting the stage for the Jefferson nickel. The Jefferson nickel's introduction 1938. After a public design competition, Felix Schlag's portrait of Thomas Jefferson and depiction of his home at Monticello were selected to replace the Buffalo nickel in 1938. This new design coincided with increased interest in Jefferson and the renewed appreciation of his contributions to American democracy. The timing was significant. In 1943, the bicentennial of Jefferson's birth would be celebrated nationally. The Jefferson nickel would go on to become the longest-running unchanged coin design in U.S. history. By the time it was modified in 2004, spanning over 65 years. With only minor adjustments, this remarkable continuity makes coins like the 1998 Jefferson nickel part of an important American numismatic legacy. The wartime composition 1942 to 1945. A significant chapter in the Jefferson nickel's history came during World War II, when nickel was designated a strategic metal critical to the war effort. From late 1942 through 1945, the Jefferson nickel was struck in a special wartime composition of 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. These silver nickels are easily identified by the large mint marks positioned above Monticello on the reverse, the only time in the 20th century that Philadelphia minted coins received a P-mint mark until the practice became standard in 1980. After the war, the Jefferson nickel returned to its original 75% copper and 25% nickel composition, which would continue through 1998 and beyond. Post-war period to 1998. From 1946 through 1998, the Jefferson nickel remained remarkably stable in design and composition. While other denominations saw design changes, the Lincoln cent reverse. In 1959, the Washington quarter reverse for the bicentennial. In 1975, 1976, etc. The Jefferson nickel continued with Schlag's original design with only minor modifications to sharpen details. By 1998, the Jefferson nickel had been a constant in American pockets for 60 years, spanning multiple generations and becoming an often overlooked but essential part of everyday commerce. The 1998 coins represented the continuation of this storied tradition, minted as America approached the millennium and experienced significant economic and technological transformation. Felix Schlag's original design. To fully appreciate the 1998 Jefferson nickel, one must understand the design elements that remained largely unchanged since Felix Schlag's original conception in 1938. Schlag, a German-born sculptor who immigrated to the United States in 1929, won a national competition for the new nickel design with his clear, elegant portrayal of Jefferson. The obverse features a left-facing profile portrait of Thomas Jefferson, based primarily on a marble bust created by French sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon in 1789. Jefferson's sharp profile with his distinctive hairstyle, tied in the back, projects dignity and classical simplicity. The obverse inscriptions include "In God We Trust" to the left of Jefferson, the word "Liberty" to the right, and the date below. In the 1998 issue, this date appears in a clear, moderately sized font at the bottom right quadrant of the coin. The reverse depicts Monticello Jefferson's self-designed neoclassical mansion near Charlottesville, Virginia. The building appears in a straight-on view highlighting its distinctive dome and portico above Monticello is the motto, E pluribus unum, out of many one, while below are the denominations, 5 cents and United States of America. Design modifications before 1998. While the fundamental design remained consistent, there were subtle modifications to the Jefferson nickel before the 1998 mintage. 1939 modifications soon after the coin's introduction, the mint made slight adjustments to Schlag's design, most notably refining the steps leading up to Monticello's entrance. 1942 to 1945. Wartime changes during World War II. As mentioned earlier, the large mint marks were positioned above Monticello, but this placement reverted to the traditional right side of Monticello after 1945-1966 design sharpening. The mint subtly enhanced certain design elements, particularly refining the details of Monticello. 1979 to 1980 changes, when the P mint mark was permanently added to Philadelphia issues. In 1980, there were minor adjustments to accommodate this addition without disrupting the overall design. Die preparation improvements through the decades. Technological advances in die preparation allowed for slightly sharper strikes in later years, including 1998 compared to earlier issues. Design elements of the 1998 issue. The 1998 Jefferson nickel retained all the classic elements of Schlag's design with the production standards of the late 1990s, as by this time the mint had decades of experience producing this design and had optimized the striking process to create consistent, clear examples. The 1998 date appears in the standard position and mint marks. P4. Philadelphia D for Denver appear on the right side of Monticello. One noteworthy characteristic of 1998 and other late 20th century Jefferson nickels is that they were struck using dies created from digital masters rather than the traditional hand-cut master dies used in earlier decades. This technological advancement allowed for greater consistency across production, but also slightly altered the feel of the design compared to the earliest issue's artistic significance. From an artistic perspective, the Jefferson nickel design that continued through 1998 represents a significant example of American neoclassical numismatic art. Schlag's approach eschewed the more ornate and detailed style of some earlier U.S. coins in favor of clean lines and clear portraiture. Art historians note that the Jefferson nickel design embodies many principles of the streamlined aesthetic popular in the 1930s. The design simplicity allowed it to remain visually effective even as it aged, giving it remarkable longevity. By 1998, this design had survived numerous artistic trends and remained a functional, recognizable piece of American visual culture. When collectors examine a 1998 Jefferson nickel today, they are looking at the culmination of 60 years of production of an iconic American design that would soon face its first major changes as the Westward Journey series began. In 2000, for mint leadership and operations in 1998, the United States Mint was under the direction of Philip and Deal, who served as the 35th director of the Mint from 1994 to 2000. Deal's tenure is widely regarded as transformative for the Mint as he implemented numerous modernization efforts and expanded the Mint's commemorative and collectible coin programs. Under Deal's leadership, the Mint was evolving from a traditional government manufacturing operation into a more business-oriented enterprise. The Mint was already beginning to position itself as a consumer products organization while maintaining its fundamental role in producing the nation's circulating coinage. The 1998 operations included the following facilities: Philadelphia Mint. As the Mint's flagship facility, the Philadelphia location was responsible for producing the majority of circulating coinage, including 1998 P. Jefferson nickels. The modern Philadelphia Mint building, opened in 1969, was equipped with high-speed presses capable of striking millions of coins daily. Denver Mint, the second primary production facility for circulating coins. The Denver Mint produced the 1998 D. Jefferson nickels. The Denver facility operating in its 1904 Renaissance Revival style building had been modernized internally to accommodate contemporary coinage needs. San Francisco Mint, though not involved in producing circulation Jefferson nickels, in 1998 the San Francisco facility specialized in proof coinage, including the 1998 S-proof Jefferson nickels for collector sets. West Point Mint similarly not involved in nickel production. This facility focused primarily on bullion coins and Fort Knox Bullion Depository. While not a production facility, this famous installation remained a key part of the Mint's overall operations technological infrastructure in 1998. By 1998, the Mint had implemented significant technological improvements compared to earlier decades of Jefferson nickel production. Computer-aided design kit systems were being used to create and maintain coin designs digitally. The traditional hand cutting of master dies had been largely replaced by computer-navigated milling machines that could produce coin hubs and dies with greater precision and consistency. The actual striking of 1998 nickels utilized high-speed coining presses capable of producing up to 720 coins per minute, a vast improvement over the presses used when the Jefferson nickel was first introduced. These modern presses employed more precise pressure control and feeding mechanisms, reducing the occurrence of striking errors compared to earlier years. Metal blanks plankets for the nickels were produced using sophisticated alloy mixing, rolling, and blanking technology that ensured consistent composition and weight. Quality control systems included electronic sensing equipment that could detect and reject flawed coins at various stages of production. Production challenges and considerations. Despite technological advances, producing billions of circulating coins annually was not without challenges. The 1998 nickel production faced several operational considerations. Die life management. Even with improved metallurgy and preparation techniques, dies used to strike nickels would gradually wear, requiring regular replacement to maintain quality standards. Each die might strike anywhere from 100,000 to over 1 million coins before being retired. Metal supply and cost fluctuations. The copper and nickel markets experienced typical commodity price fluctuations in 1998, requiring the Mint to manage its metal acquisition strategically. The 1998 nickel composition, 75% copper, 25% nickel, represented a significant metal value, though still below face value, unlike in some later years when metal prices surged. Production scheduling. The Mint had to balance the production of nickels with other denominations and special collector products, allocating press time and workforce accordingly. In 1998, the Mint was particularly busy with the new 50 State Quarters program preparations, which would launch the following year. Quality control standards. Maintaining consistent quality across billions of nickels required sophisticated sampling and of workload between facilities and potentially regional demand factors for circulating coinage. Production process. The production of a 1998 Jefferson nickel involved multiple stages. Alloy preparation. The copper-nickel alloy, 75% copper, 25% nickel, was prepared according to precise specifications. The metals were melted together in large furnaces to ensure proper mixing. Strip production. The molten alloy was cast into bars, which were then passed through rolling mills multiple times to create metal strips of the exact thickness required for nickels, 1.95 millimeters. Blanking. These metal strips were fed into blanking presses that punched out round blanks, plankets of the proper diameter for nickels, 21.1 millimeters. Rimming. The blanks were processed through upsetting mills that raised a rim around the circumference of each blank. This rim would help protect the coin's design from wear and facilitate stacking. Annealing and cleaning. The blanks were heat-treated, annealed to soften the metal for better striking, and then chemically cleaned to remove any tarnish or oils. Striking. The prepared blanks were fed into coining presses, where they were positioned between two dies, obverse and reverse, and a collar. which formed the edge and maintained the coin's diameter. Tremendous pressure, approximately 35 tons, was applied to impress the designs onto both sides simultaneously. Inspection: the struck coins passed through automated inspection systems that checked for weight, metal composition, and visual defects. Sampling processes were also employed for quality control. Counting and bagging: verified coins were mechanically counted into large bags, typically containing $100 to $200 face value of nickels for distribution to Federal Reserve banks. Distribution channels: once minted the 1998 Jefferson nickels followed standard distribution channels. Federal Reserve System: the newly minted nickels were delivered to Federal Reserve banks and their regional branches across the country. Commercial banks: financial institutions ordered nickels from the Federal Reserve as needed to meet customer demand. Business distribution: banks supplied nickels to retail businesses, vending machine companies, transit authorities, and other commercial enterprises requiring coins for change-making and operations. Public circulation: through countless daily transactions, the 1998 nickels entered general circulation, where many remain today over 2 decades later, while others have been removed by collectors or eventually returned to the Federal Reserve and possibly retired when worn. Production quality and characteristics: the 1998 Jefferson nickels generally exhibit the production quality typical of modern U.S. coinage from this period. Several characteristics are notable. Strike quality: most 1998 nickels show reasonably sharp strikes, though complete steps on Monticello, a key detail collectors examine, are not consistently present. The striking pressure and die preparation of this era typically produced coins with good but not exceptional detail. Surface finish: these nickels have the standard satin-like surface typical of circulation. Strikes from this period neither highly polished nor excessively matte. Die state variations: as with any large mintage, early die state coins struck from fresh dies generally show sharper details than late die state examples from worn dies. Collectors may find variations in sharpness among 1998 nickels. Due to this factor, mint mark styles: the P and D mint marks on 1998 nickels used the standard punch styles of the period with clearly defined letters of moderate size positioned to the right of Monticello special production notes. While the 1998 Jefferson nickel was primarily a standard production issue, a few aspects of its minting are worth noting. Digital production influence: the 1998 issues reflect the mint's increasing use of digital technology in design transfer and die preparation, resulting in slightly different character to the relief compared to earlier decades of Jefferson nickel production die hubbing practices. By 1998, the mint was using multiple hubbing techniques to create working dies, resulting in stronger impressions than in some previous decades. Production efficiency: the 1998 production benefited from the mint's continuous improvement processes with better mechanical reliability and reduced downtime compared to earlier eras, contributing to the large mintage figures achieved. This thorough production process resulted in billions of 1998 Jefferson nickels entering circulation, where many continue to serve in commerce today, while others have found their way into collections as representatives of late 20th century American coinage. Physical characteristics: the 1998 Jefferson nickel adheres to the standard specifications established for the denomination, which had remained consistent since the coin's introduction except for the wartime composition change. Diameter 21.21 millimeters, 0.835 inches. Thickness. Edge height 1.95 millimeters, 0.077 inches. Weight 5.00 grams, 0.176 ounces. Edge plane, smooth, not reeded shape, circular. These specifications were established to make the nickel distinguishable from other denominations both visually and by touch, and important. 100,000 to 200,000 nickels before requiring replacement due to wear, though this varied based on striking pressure, metal flow characteristics, and other factors. Technical production challenges. Several technical challenges specific to nickel production had to be addressed in the minting process. Metal hardness. The copper-nickel alloy is relatively hard compared to some other coinage metals, requiring significant striking pressure to adequately fill the die cavities and produce sharp design details. The 5 steps problem. A persistent challenge in Jefferson nickel production has been achieving clear striking of all 5 steps leading to Monticello's entrance. The 1998 issues, like most modern Jefferson nickels, often show incomplete steps due to a combination of die wear, insufficient striking pressure, and die design limitations. Metal flow characteristics. The copper-nickel alloy has specific flow properties during striking that affect how well it fills the die cavities, particularly in high-relief areas like Jefferson's hair details and Monticello's architectural features. Die stress management. The hardness of the alloy increases stress on dies, requiring careful management of striking pressure and die hardening processes to prevent premature die failure. Environmental considerations. By 1998, the Mint was increasingly conscious of environmental factors in coin production. Metal reclamation. Scrap metal from blanking operations and rejected coins was systematically collected and recycled back into the production process. Chemical management. The cleaning solutions used in blank preparation were managed under increasingly stringent environmental regulations. Energy efficiency. The high-volume production of nickels required substantial energy, and the Mint had begun implementing efficiency measures to reduce consumption. Water usage. The production process required water for cooling and cleaning operations, with systems in place to minimize usage and treat water before discharge. These technical specifications and production considerations determined the physical characteristics of every 1998 Jefferson nickel, creating a consistent, recognizable, and functional 5-cent piece that met the needs of American commerce at the end of the 20th century. Symbolic significance of the Jefferson portrait. The portrait of Thomas Jefferson that appears on the 1998 nickel carries deep symbolic significance in American numismatic and political culture. Jefferson, as the author of the Declaration of Independence and 3rd President of the United States, represents core American values of liberty, democracy, and intellectual progress. Felix Schleg's rendition of Jefferson, based on the Udong bust, portrays the statesman with a dignified, forward-looking expression that emphasizes his intellectual character rather than military or authoritarian aspects. This artistic choice aligns with Jefferson's legacy as a thinker and philosopher-statesman. The left-facing orientation of the portrait continues a tradition in American coinage where the direction a portrait faces often alternates between denominations. The clean, uncluttered field surrounding Jefferson's profile allows the portrait to command attention without distraction. By 1998, this portrait had become one of the most recognizable images of Jefferson in popular culture, perhaps second only to his depiction on the $2 bill. The longevity of this design helped cement a particular image of Jefferson in the American consciousness. Monticello as an architectural icon. The reverse design featuring Monticello represents more than merely Jefferson's home. It embodies his architectural vision and philosophical principles. Monticello's neoclassical design, personally adapted by Jefferson from Palladian models, reflects Enlightenment ideals of harmony, proportion, and rational order. Several aspects of Monticello's depiction on the 1998 nickel merit analysis. Perspective choice. The straight-on view emphasizes the building's symmetry and the iconic dome, presenting the structure as a balanced, harmonious creation. Simplified representation. The design necessarily simplifies Monticello's actual architecture, focusing on its most recognizable elements while omitting many details visible on the actual building. Environmental context. The building appears isolated without its surrounding landscape, focusing attention on Jefferson's architectural achievement rather than its setting the steps detail. The famous 5 steps leading to the portico, while difficult to strike, clearly represent an important identification point for collectors evaluating strike quality. Monticello's Selection for the reverse continues the American tradition of architectural reverse. Designs like the Lincoln Memorial on the cent and the Capitol building on the early shield nickel. However, Monticello has special significance as a personal creation of the person honored on the obverse. Unlike most other U.S. coin architectural designs, typography and inscriptions, the typography and inscriptions on the 1998 Jefferson nickel reflect both practical and symbolic considerations. Liberty inscription. The word liberty to the right of Jefferson's portrait connects the coin to the fundamental American value Jefferson helped articulate in the Declaration of Independence. The typography uses clean, easily legible capital letters in a traditional serif-style date placement. The 1998 date appears at the bottom right of the obverse, balanced visually with the Liberty inscription. The numerals use a straightforward, unembellished style consistent with the overall design aesthetic. In God We Trust. This motto, required on all U.S. coins since 1955, appears to Jefferson's left. Its inclusion demonstrates how the Jefferson nickel design adapted to accommodate this later mandated inscription without disrupting the overall design balance. E pluribus unum. This traditional motto, out of many, one appears above Monticello on the reverse, using the same typographic style as other inscriptions. For consistency, 5 cents, the denomination uses slightly larger typography than other reverse inscriptions, enhancing its legibility. An important practical consideration for a circulation coin. United States of America. The country name uses a balanced arrangement of slightly smaller letters, allowing it to span the width of the coin without overwhelming other design elements. Mint marks. On the 1998 issues, the P Philadelphia or D Denver Mint marks appear to the right of Monticello in a size proportionate to other design elements. The typography throughout maintains a classical character, appropriate to Jefferson's era and aesthetic preferences, using traditional serif letter forms rather than more modern sans serif styles. Artistic merit and criticism. From an artistic perspective, the Jefferson nickel design continued on the 1998 issues has received mixed evaluations from numismatic critics and art historians. Strengths identified by critics: clean composition. The design achieves clarity and balance with well-defined central elements and uncluttered fields. Historical authenticity. The Jefferson portrait accurately represents historical records of his appearance, particularly the Udong bust appropriates symbolism. The pairing of Jefferson with his architectural creation, Monticello, creates a coherent thematic statement about the man and his achievements. Technical execution. The design translates effectively to the small scale of a 5-cent coin, maintaining legibility of both portrait and architectural details. Criticisms often noted conservative styling. Some critics consider the design overly conservative and lacking the artistic innovation seen in earlier American coinage like the Buffalo nickel limited dimension. The